Based on true events, this case became one of the most documented and debated hauntings in modern history. What happened inside 284 Green Street continues to divide believers and skeptics, but one thing is certain: something haunted that house in August 1977, in a quiet suburb of London called Enfield. Strange events began to unfold in the council home of single mother Peggy Hodgson and her 4 children. It started with noises, loud, rhythmic knocks that echoed through the walls when no one was around. Peggy initially thought it was a prank or perhaps the plumbing. But it didn't stop. Furniture moved on its own. Chairs slid across the floor without anyone touching them. A chest of drawers tipped forward as if pushed by an invisible force, stopping only when Peggy tried to move it back, like something was resisting her. The family's 2 daughters, 11-year-old Janet and 13-year-old Margaret, were often at the center of the phenomena. Janet began experiencing strange trances. She would speak in a guttural, male voice, one that claimed to be Bill Wilkins, a man who allegedly died in the house years before. "Just before I died, I went blind. Then I had a hemorrhage and I fell asleep and died in the chair in the corner downstairs," the voice claimed. Word spread fast. Reporters, photographers, and paranormal investigators began flocking to the house. Among them was Maurice Grosse, a member of the Society for Psychical Research. He witnessed chairs tipping, toys flying across rooms, and temperature drops so severe it felt like walking into a freezer. But nothing disturbed him more than Janet, levitating. On 3 separate occasions, she was photographed mid-air, as if flung from her bed by an unseen hand. Then came the voices. Deep and gravelly, they would erupt from Janet's mouth for hours. Doctors and speech experts examined her and found that even using her vocal cords in that way for a few minutes should have damaged her voice. But Janet would go on for hours. Skeptics argued it was all a hoax, that the girls were seeking attention. They pointed to moments when the children were caught bending spoons or triggering minor disturbances. But even under surveillance, when the house was being closely watched, strange things kept happening. That's when the Warrens arrived. Ed and Lorraine Warren, renowned American paranormal investigators, were drawn to the Enfield case due to its growing notoriety. Lorraine, a clairvoyant, claimed she felt a dark presence upon entering the house. She described the entity not as a simple ghost, but something more ancient, more malevolent. Ed Warren, ever the determined researcher, brought recording equipment and documented hours of unexplained phenomena. Lorraine believed the entity was using Janet as a conduit, feeding off the chaos and fear inside the home. Neighbors also reported strange happenings, lights flickering, pets behaving violently, and a dense, suffocating atmosphere around the house. Some refused to walk past number 284 after dark. One night, according to Maurice Grosse's notes, the family was awakened by a deafening bang. The kitchen table had been flipped over. Doors slammed on their own. A crucifix on the wall had been broken in half. And in Janet's bedroom, the word "help" was found scratched into the wallpaper. But perhaps the most chilling part of the Enfield case was not the levitations, or the voices, or the broken crosses. It was the silence that followed. After nearly 2 years of torment, the activity faded. Some say it was because Janet was removed from the house for a time. Others believe the entity had simply moved on. Janet herself, in later interviews, admitted to faking some events, but insisted that 98% of it was real. Critics still argue over what happened in Enfield. Some say the girls were acting out after the trauma of their parents' separation. Others believe it was one of the most well-documented cases of mass hysteria in British history, but for those who were there, who saw Janet levitate, who heard the voice of Bill Wilkins without explanation, there's no question, something evil had taken residence in that house. To this day, the Enfield Poltergeist remains one of the most chilling and controversial cases of alleged demonic possession. It inspired books, documentaries, and even The Conjuring 2. But even Hollywood couldn't capture the full terror felt by the Hodgson family during those long, haunted nights. This was Horror History to Sleep. Subscribe, if you dare, and try not to dream of knocking on your walls tonight.